Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is Wes, the Suburban Viking. Of course, we got Dave here with us. Say hey, Dave.
Hey, son.
And we are Midgard Axe. And today I'm bringing you the Calculated Survival Norse Throwing Hatchet. As you guys know, I did a first impressions on this already, did an unboxing and showed it to you. In this one here, we're going to talk all about axe throwing and how well this thing flew, how well it did for distance, if I think it's good for axe throwing, if the bit held up. We're going to cover everything about this throwing hatchet. And I'll tell you guys, I really like this. Right in the center. But before I get into all that and I show you all my crazy throws and all the throwing videos I put in this, I'm going to hand it over to Dave and he's going to give you the specs on this thing.
The axe head is made of 8CR14 MOV stainless steel, with a crazy bit design measuring at 4 inches. Handle is made of glass-filled nylon and measured at 16 inches. The total weight comes in at 1 pound and 2 ounces. Priced at $59, this is a unique throwing axe that flies very well. However, I will say, these handles can be as fragile as my relationship with Freya. Remain steadfast. My visions show me a new handle coming. One of strength and resilience.
I touched on the sheath previously, but I'm going to tell you guys something I forgot to tell you previously. So we do have a Kydex style sheath, and we have two separate ones, one for the bit and one for the spike. But I will tell you guys, this thing is locked into place pretty good. Now what I did was I took the paracord and kind of pulled it, and it comes off, okay? And I forgot to tell you guys that when you put the bit in, listen to this. It snaps into place, which is really cool, pretty easy to take off. But I will tell you, if you put it on, the best way to do it is to start with the spike and then come around and put the bit cover back on, and then you're good to go. But of course, guys, what do we do with sheaths on this channel? We toss them. We don't need it. Let's talk about this throwing hatchet. I'll go over a couple things that maybe some people didn't see in the first video, impression-wise. Number one, I'm not a big fan of these ribbed handles. I did one on the solid tactical tomahawk. I didn't care for it, and I'll tell you guys why I don't care for it later in this video here. So that was the first thing that I noticed. Other than that, I thought it was really cool. I did mention how the bit, as you guys can see here, is oddly shaped, but it is really cool. It kind of reminds me of the Cobra Blackthorn a little bit, but it was really cool. I did enjoy it. It feels really good in the hand. Like I said in that video, I said it probably weighed about 1 pound. We weren't far off. 1 pound and 2.3 ounces, so I was pretty close. And Dave, you did a good job with your specs, buddy.
Damn right.
So getting into this throwing hatchet here, first off, single rotations. This thing was awesome. This thing was better than the SOG Tactical Tomahawk, in my opinion. The reason why I had such a good time with it is because it's extremely nimble. This thing is so light, but yet it hits with force. You can throw this thing really hard and it's going to smash into the target. I had a really good time doing different types of trick throws and spinning throws and so on and so forth at a single rotation. Now, of course, guys, I did set up normal and threw it normally at a single rotation, just standing still and throwing it. It was very accurate. I got a very good release out of the hand. It released out of the hand very well, and it hit the target really nicely. It was very nimble. It felt good when I was running around throwing up this hatchet to throw hard. There's not a ton of weight, so you can just throw this thing up really fast and chuck it out of your hand really quick into the target, which makes kind of just going around and being nimble with this thing really easy. Now, coming in at 16 inches made this thing really nice to be able to do different types of throws with it. So if you want to get this to do competition style throws, or you wanted to get crazy like I do, throw it really hard, or if you wanted to step back to do some trick throws, you can. Because of the weight and because of the length, it's almost perfect for that. So I did enjoy this thing for a single rotation. Like I said before, it flew very well and it was really accurate for single rotation. Of course, there was no wobble at all, and that contributes to how thin this axe head is, and you know, the weight being only at a little over 1 pound, so you get a true stick at a single rotation. Great flyer to single. Double rotations were just as good as a single. I had a really good time. I will say that I think I threw this the best at a double rotation because I was able to do some of my running throws and release it out of my hand really easy. And I was able to kind of just do, set up with my back to the target, flip around and throw it really hard. I don't know if you guys can tell in these videos that I'm putting in here, but if you notice, I'm throwing this thing really hard at a single, double, and a triple rotation. I was not giving this thing any leniency at all. I was tossing it hard because I felt like I could throw it hard, and I did. Now, this thing flew really well to double rotation, like I've said before, with some of the hatchets and axes that I've done reviews on at double and triple rotations. When I've told you guys when I'm moving around and I'm throwing crazy, that sometimes with a heavy-headed axe, you have to kind of calculate when you're going to hit your mark and throw your head up to match it simultaneously to be able to release the axe cleanly at that spot to get a bit hit into the target or a bit strike into the target. With these lighter axes like these here or hatchets, these things are great for being able to run around and be nimble because there's not much weight to throw up. So you don't have to calculate as much. You know where your mark is, where you need to hit a double rotation at, so you can just kind of run up there, throw this thing up really quick and release the hatchet out of your hand. And that's exactly what I did with this thing. It was really nice at a double rotation, and it was extremely accurate at a double rotation too. That was one thing that I did notice when I was stepping back and really trying to be accurate with this thing. I had no issues at all trying to get this thing to go where I wanted it to go. There was no wobble at all, and it flew extremely well. It almost felt like the CRKT Jenny Wren, just a little bit bigger, but this thing was awesome for a double rotation. So triple rotations and quadruples, yes, I threw this for 4 rotations, felt very good. It flew really good in the air. There was no wobble at all. Like I said previously, it flew exactly the same at a triple and a quadruple as it did at a double rotation, okay? So when you went back really far, it felt exactly the same. I will tell you guys, this thing would be great for someone who wants to throw all day or wants to go back for distance because you don't have a really head-heavy axe, and it flies really true in the air for distance. So that's why I really enjoyed this for triple and quadruple rotations. Now, when I set up the throw, I did kind of put my back to the target, spin around and throw, but I really did enjoy just kind of squaring up to the target, leaning back with my body weight, and really trying to be accurate with this thing, which I was. This thing was great because it felt like nothing coming up. When I was loading the weight back to throw this thing, it just felt like nothing. And when you get axes or hatchets like this and you throw them for distance and they feel like this, your confidence builds. So you feel like you can do anything with this thing. You can go back really far and throw it. And that's exactly what I got out of this throwing hatchet here. It was just really good for a single, double, and triple rotation. Flew really well. It hit really hard for only weighing a little over a pound, I will say, at distance. It hit pretty daggone hard, and I did notice that. So that was really cool too. I thought maybe I'd get some dainty sticks or it wouldn't hit very hard, but when editing, I could hear this thing whack into the target at a triple and quadruple rotation, so I did enjoy that. And this thing was a freaking laser beam at a double, triple, and quadruple rotations. Like I said, I didn't let up on this thing. I was throwing this thing really hard, and it worked really well for distance. So my overall throwing experience with this thing was great. I really did enjoy this throwing hatchet. It was awesome. However, we did have a couple cons. If you didn't notice, I've got electrical tape on the handle. We'll get to that in a second, but we're going to cover this bit. I really did enjoy this bit. Now, what I did was I sharpened the bit here, gave it a little bit of an edge up here at the toe, a little bit down here at the heel, gave it a little bit of a point so that way I'd get some sticking going on. The back here in the spike, I did give it a little bit of an edge back here, but I really sharpened it under here like a knife. I thought I'd try something different. I was able to stick it with this thing in the back here with the spike. I had no issues at all. Sticking this bit was really fun. It was really cool watching it go into the target. Now, like I've said before, with bits that are weirdly shaped like this one, you're going to want to over-rotate it a little bit to get the toe to go in, okay? Because that was the best way that I found to stick this thing, with a little bit of an over-rotation. Now, you can stick it like this, straight into the target. However, I will tell you, being honest with you guys, that I didn't have very many issues sticking it just like this with a regular bit strike like you'd get with a normal throwing axe. For a single and a double rotation, no issues sticking it like this at all. However, I did notice, and I'll throw some videos in now, that when I got back to triple and quadruple rotations, trying to stick the bit like this, I did have some times where the bit wanted to hit and then the axe or the hatchet wanted to bounce back at me. It wasn't going really deep into the target this way like this. I had to over rotate it a little bit. And I will also say too that at some of the double rotations when I was sticking it like this, it wasn't going in very far, meaning that when I went to go pull the throwing hatchet out of the target, it didn't take very much effort because I was sticking it like this and it was only going in about maybe about an inch to an inch and a half. So I will say that if you don't over rotate this thing, you're not going to get a lot of penetration just because the toe's going to go in and then the heel's going to kind of stop it in a sense, if that makes sense. So if you're wanting to get penetration with this thing, you're going to want to need to over rotate it a little bit. Like I said, I didn't have any issues sticking it like this with a full bit strike at singles and doubles, but when I got back to throwing for distance, it was having a little bit of trouble sticking in there and going in deep. The reason why I don't care for these ribbed handles is because when you step back to throw for distance, what happens is that your throwing style can be a little bit different. Like I've told you guys before, my throwing style up close when I'm throwing really hard and trying to be accurate is a little different, especially with my wrist, than it is for distance. And when I throw for distance, I have a little bit of a wrist flick, like I've told you guys before. What happens when you have these ribs is that they want to drag across your finger. It's like, and what happens is that can affect your accuracy for distance. That's why I don't care for these ribbed handles. I was able to do it, but if I had my choice, I'd do something a little different other than these ribs because they do want to drag on your hand when you're throwing it for distance, and it will cause some accuracy issues. As you guys know, in the past I said I'm not a huge fan of these polymer or plastic style handled axes. This one here is a glass-filled nylon handle. And then of course we have the Cold Steel Trench Hawk and Warhawk, which is a polypropylene handle. For the sake of this video, I'm going to call it glass-filled and poly. Don't feel like saying that word over and over and over again. So the Calculated Survival Norse Throwing Hawk has a glass-filled handle. Now the reason why I try to stay away from glass-filled nylon is because in my experience and in my opinion, these poly handles for plastic style handles are really nice. Like the cold steel ones, they hold up to a lot of abuse. And as you guys know, I've done a review on the Honshu Corito glass-filled nylon handle. And what happened to that handle? It broke right in half, okay? And as you guys can see here, this one did the same. Now, in the first day I was throwing, I broke this handle, okay? Wasn't filming though. Had you guys know, I told you in a previous video, I ordered two handles. Because I was going to use the second handle on the Honshu Corito. Because this handle broke, I needed to finish filming. I hadn't filmed yet, and I didn't finish filming. I was throwing it the first day, didn't film, and I said, well, shit, I'm going to have to put the other handle on this to film. So I put the other handle on this Norse throwing hawk here, and or Norse throwing hatchet here, and started throwing. Okay. Now, the first day when I took this out and threw it, I stuck the bit and the handle sheared off. Very strange. However, I will say, same thing happened with the Honshu Corito. With the glass-filled nylon handle, I stuck the bit and the handle just snapped right in half right here. It was almost in the same area, okay? Now, I will say when I was throwing this thing, I noticed that I had a ton of vibration going down the handle. And like I told you guys before, I call that death wobble, where when you throw an axe or a hatchet into a target and you notice you have a ton of wobble going down the handle, that's not always a great sign. However, replaced the handle, took it out the second day, and filmed. So we had this one. It broke. Like I said before, this one broke. I broke the second handle. Now, I got that one on camera, and I'll roll it in now and show you exactly what happened. So here goes the handle. I I was set up for a single rotation in the front yard, threw the hatchet into the target, the bit struck, and the handle just sheared off in the middle, same way the first handle did, same way that the Honshu Corrido handle did. And just to give you guys a comparison, here's the bottoms of both of these handles. I'm going to set them down, okay? The reason why I want to show you this is because I found it odd, but telling. I normally don't have a ton of axes that broke exactly the same or exactly in the same spot sometimes, but they're all a little different. But I found that telling that these handles broke in the exact same spot, literally in the exact same spot. Just so you guys know, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off so you know that it's the exact same spot, because you guys may believe me, but it's going to bother me. So I'm going to take it off really quick and I'll come back. Got the rest of the electrical tape off. Here you go. Look at that, guys. It's almost exactly the same. And what's crazy too is that if you look at the front of the handle, see how there's glass-filled nylon handle missing back here? And then there is glass-filled nylon missing back here as well, with a little bit of a lip here. Same with this one. So here we are. Broke almost in the exact same spot with clean bit strikes. However, I will say, me and Dave were talking and we decided, what, Dave?
Screw it. Let's throw it.
That's right. We were going to throw this thing just like it sat. And that's exactly what we did. So I'll throw in some videos now of me throwing this thing just like this. To give you guys an idea, I'll measure it really quick. It was coming in at 8.5 inches. We had an 8.5 inch hatchet with this big old bit here, and we tore up with it. I will tell you guys, I had a really good time throwing it with this handle length here. Now I had to get close, and I'm talking super close, but as you guys can see here, I was tearing up with this thing. I was able to turn around and throw this thing really fast, get it out of the hand really quick, and I was able to do some spinning back throws with it. And I'll throw in some slow-mos too of me throwing this thing at a single and a double rotation. I think it even got to triple. I can't remember. I'll have to check it in editing, but I'm pretty sure it was a double or triple throwing it like this. It was a lot of fun, and I didn't have to worry about the handle breaking anymore. I didn't think it would, which it didn't. But throwing this thing at 8.5 inches was a hell of a good time. Talking about these different types of handles, this is exactly why I prefer poly handles over glass-filled nylon if I was to get a polymer plastic style handle. They hold up better. These glass-filled nylon handles just don't hold up for my axe throws. I throw too hard. It is what it is. That's just the hard truth of the matter. And I understand that. So I'm going to remember that going forward. But I think I'm going to probably do away with any type of glass-filled nylon throwing axes in the future. They just never hold up, and I know they don't hold up. And there's no point in continuously doing them. However, I will tell you this. Calculated Survival did something really cool. And I can only speculate. I don't know, but I can only speculate that they did this because they listened to their customers and they listened to their customer base about these glass-filled nylon handles. And I'll put it up on the screen now. Check this out. They offer a metal handle for their throwing hatchet, which is really cool. And you can get it in a bunch of different colors. Now, I will tell you guys, I didn't see that handle when I ordered this last year. I didn't see it. Maybe it's something new that they've come out with, but I will tell you, I respect the hell out of a company. Mere speculation here. I respect the hell out of a company that listens to their customers. I can only assume that they probably had some feedback on these glass-filled nylon handles that they weren't holding up. And they said, you know what? We need to fix it. And I tell you what, it's always with small companies that always innovate. And I tell you what, I cannot wait to get one of those metal handles, because I'm going to try it out on this head here and see how well it throws. And if you look at the description, he says that he runs it over with his truck. And if you bend it, you can bend it back. That's really cool. I will give them props for innovating, and I would assume listening to their customer base, which is really cool. So I will be buying one of their metal handles to test on their axe heads, because I think it's going to be a great flyer. It looks really cool. The handle looks really cool, and I think it's going to work out really well for my style of throwing. Final thoughts. What I think about it. It was really cool. I had a great time throwing this. I prefer this over the SOG Tactical Tomahawk for a couple different reasons, but also because of the bit size. You get a bigger bit on this one. I do like a little bit of an over rotation, so that's really cool. I will tell you guys, the bit is still pretty sharp. We did have some dulling, okay? You might have to sharpen a little bit more than your tempered, really high carbon steel axes. However, this thing held up very well for the amount of times that I throw it. Over 2 days, throwing really hard, it did really well. So all in all, not a bad throwing hatchet, guys. This thing was a lot of fun. I am interested to see what it's going to throw like with their metal handle. I'll be getting one and putting this on there and testing it out. Thank God I don't have to go source a handle somewhere else. I will say though, I am kind of interested to see, just throwing this out there, if I was to buy one of Cold Steel's poly handles and cut it down and modify the hell out of it, if it would fit this axe head. I'm sure it would. So maybe we'll get actually, you know what? Here's what we'll do. I'll order one of Calculated Survival's metal handles. I'll order a Cold Steel poly handle, and I will fit them both to this axe head, and I'll make a part 2 of throwing it with both handles, and I'll tell you guys which one I like better and which one flies better. How about that? That sound good, Dave?
For the love of all the gods, let me do an axe ritual first on these handles.
Sounds good to me, buddy. Let's do it. I love this stuff. I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but I'm always trying to find a way to make a part 2 to every video. Right, Dave?
I think you're obsessed if you want the truth.
Yeah, you're right, buddy. This is going to be fun. I really do enjoy getting into all this stuff, mixing things, matching things, finding new things out. Had I not gone onto the website to do the specs for this thing for Dave, because yeah, I know, I do the specs for it. In reality, I do. I would have never have seen that metal handle. So I'm glad I went on there and found the metal handle for this so we can make a part 2. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. So guys, check out Calculated Survival. I do say check out companies that listen to their customer base. I'm only assuming that's what they did. I don't know why they would make a metal handle if they thought the glass nylons were performing perfectly. The only thing that I will give Calculated Survival, if anyone from their company is listening or watching in this, here's what I would suggest. Just a little helpful information. I would probably offer this axe head already installed on that metal handle as an option. Install it and sell it as one. Or if you feel like you'd rather have 2 handles, order it with the glass filled nylon and get you a metal one, you got 2 handles. Why not? 2 handles are always better than 1, right? I appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate you watching this video. Consider subscribing. If you're not, we're going to do all kinds of cool stuff this year. I cannot wait to make part 2s. I probably should start making some part 2s on some of these axes because I've got a lot stacking up that needs part 2s, right? All these Waddle axes, these World Axe Run League axes that are sitting back here. We need to make part 2s on those soon, so we'll do that. Also, if you don't know, I live in Virginia, the Virginia Beach area, right on the East Coast. Today is Monday night. We're supposed to get a foot plus of snow on Wednesday. So I'll probably be outside throwing. I don't know. We'll see. It says the winds are going to gust to 35. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to try to go outside in the snow, though, while it's snowing and throw. And you know what I'm going to throw? Should we show them, Dave? Look what I got. The Berserker cutter. So hopefully on Wednesday, I'll get outside and give you guys a review on the Berserker axe. Can't wait to give you a great video on that one. And I've got an awesome intro for it. Can't wait to do it. Me and Dave are getting crazy on that one. You have to. It's called the Berserker. But appreciate your support. But until next time, guys, see you.
You think we throw until we get our shot and say, got it? Here is some more axe throwing, unedited for the loudmouths. You're welcome, Dix.
All day long. Man! Ugh. Guys, right in the center. Right in the center. Right in the center. Do this all day long. Nasty. Right here.